You know what? This is probably the most boring business ideas I've ever had, but it's actually the most surprising one. It is worth at least $22 million, if not more. Crazy, right? If this is the first time you're here, my name is Eric. I work in a number of innovative partnerships with some of the biggest technology companies in the world. The names that I cannot mention, but you know them. We build new business models worth millions of dollars of investments. In this channel, I'm going to share with you more than 200 of my own business ideas and my step-by-step guide how I evaluate that idea one by one. If you like them, feel free to copy and paste them. Most importantly, remember to subscribe so that you're not going to miss out the next idea. Okay, so what on earth is this super boring idea that is worth at least $22 million in terms of market size? It is something I admit I use it myself as well, but it's very old school. It's something called a valet stand or a suit stand. So basically it's a stand that holds your jacket, your pair of trousers, and maybe some accessories like cufflinks. You know what? Who's still wearing suits? However, you need to listen to the market. And this is actually the cornerstone of my structured approach on how to evaluate new business ideas. Listen to the market is one of the most important things. Well, you can check out the video in the link above on my last video so that you know what is the structural approach towards evaluating a new business idea. And remember to share it to your friends who wants to be an entrepreneur as well. So before we go straight to the $22 million idea, let's talk about the structure of the video very briefly. First of all, of course, we'll talk about the idea itself. What does it mean? Secondly, we'll talk about the pros or opportunities. The third part, we will talk about the cons/challenges if you need to take up this idea. Last but not least, the verdict. I will give a score from 1 to 10 to see how recommendable is this particular idea. Okay, so what is it about this $22 million idea? I mean, when I first came across it, I was almost laughing at myself because this is just so boring. How could it stand a chance? But you never know. That's the fun part about entrepreneurship. Wow, Amazon is another world. You look at the sales, totally different from Etsy, and it is a simple idea. Basically just a stand with a hanger on top so that you can hang your jacket on it, and then with the arm so that you can hang a pair of trousers on it, or maybe multiple trousers, and maybe a space you can put accessories, for example cufflinks, and that's it. Okay, now we understand this very simple idea, but what are the pros and cons if we want to pursue further with this business idea? Let's start with the pros first. Okay, I look at two dimensions in terms of pros. The most important one, of course, is to look at the validation of demand. I will go to Etsy, Amazon, and later to Google, even though Google is more like a cons for me. And then you will realize how big this market is. In Etsy, not as impressive. You search for valet stand, you will see, okay, there's a lot of listings. First glance, you feel like, okay, there are quite a number of reviews. Maybe it's not that bad. And then you realize, okay, they're actually not really reviews of the particular product, but they review for the whole shop. And of course, they sell more than just valet stands, right? Until I saw one of the shops. This particular shop is actually selling 95% of the goods with the valet stands. So this shop is actually really focusing on a very small niche. So how much does this guy sell? They sold 5,400 products. I would say most of them are stands, valet stands. They sold on average, I would say 280 euros. Guess how much they made? 1.5 million euros. But of course, this is a lifetime value. So I need to check when did they start opening the shop. Scroll down, you see, okay, they started in 2015. Do very rough calculation. I would say they will make around 200,000 euros per year. Not astonishing enough for me to jump into this gold rush, but still a decent amount. Wow, Amazon is another world. You look at the sales, totally different from Etsy. Each of them, each product has their own sales. How do you estimate how much sales they do? Just look at the reviews. Roughly 1 in 100 people would give a review on Amazon. If you see, for example, the first one, 770 reviews. Well, doesn't sound too high, but if you times it by 100 times, this would be a sales of around 770,000 of them times 20 euros each, which is a decent amount of money, you can imagine. Do the same thing for the top 10 sellers. The total number is, guess it, 22 million euros. And this is just only the top 10 sellers. I can imagine the numbers would be much higher if you have the whole market. Okay, of course, 22 million euros, this is a lifetime value, right? Not just for 1 month or 1 year. So the top 10 shops on average would be 6 years old. That means if you divided 22 million euros of revenue by 6 years, plus the numbers in Etsy, especially the shop I mentioned before, would be roughly 4 million euros of revenue per year, which is still a sizable market. And how much do we get? Of course, if you talk about 10% of the market, then we will have 400,000 per year. Okay, maybe a bit more modest, 5% of market share still means 200,000 euros per year of revenue. Not bad for a side hustle, even for a full business. Especially this is such a boring market, there are not so many innovators going into this market. So what do you think about this opportunity? Do you think the market size is a surprise to you? Leave me in comments below. Well understood. The pros seems pretty bright. How about the cons? The cons, first of all, is on Google search. If you look at the volume of Google search on Google Ad, you will see the search volume would be ranging from 1,000 to 10,000, maybe some of them higher, but those keywords are not exactly the same. So I think to be conservative, this would be more like 5,000 search per month around the world. But still, this is a pretty low search volume. And the second challenge is to manufacture the product, as this is actually a physical product. There are 2 ways you can do that. The first way is like Etsy, which is my preferred way because they sell at a much higher price. It's always better to go premium because you have the same number of customers, same number of calls into your call center, but you get a much higher value from each customer. So it's worth it. But the challenge, of course, is that you need to have certain artistic value, good at design, and also very good skills in either wood crafting or metal crafting, whatever you prefer, in order to build the stand. And this is not something you can do within a few weeks' time. So it takes some time to build up those skills. The second one is drop shipping. You can see on Alibaba, they are basically the same, exactly the same as those in Amazon. The price in Alibaba is actually more expensive than I thought. Roughly 20 euros each. And you talk about you only sell for 30 euros on Amazon on average. So the profit margin is pretty slim, around 33% of gross margin. We're just talking about gross margin, not even including marketing costs. And the third challenge you have is you have a lot of competition because if you're doing drop shipping route, many people would be doing the same and they would be buying from Alibaba and selling on Amazon. This would be a challenge for you if you cannot distinguish yourself from others either through branding, marketing, or a tweak of the product. Last but not least, inventory. The minimum order volume is 500 on Alibaba. 20 euro each costs you 10,000 euros. So you would have 10,000 euros of inventory, which is not small. Hopefully you can sell all of them, of course. But if not, this would be a trouble. Okay, so what is my verdict about this very boring idea? Pretty simple and market size pretty decent. You can make a few 100,000 euros per year, which is pretty alright. But there are a number of cons. So what do you think about this idea? Leave me in the comments below. Remember to subscribe so that you're not going to miss out.